All right. Hi, everybody. It's Karen Moore again with the Handout series. This series is designed to be a interview style format with professionals and business entrepreneurs and small business owners with the intent of giving advice and tips to fellow solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small business owners to help you with refining and building your business strategy. So here with me today is Dr. Taharee Jackson. She is the founder of Dr. Taharee DEI Consulting. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy week to come and chat with me. I'm so looking forward to the excellent advice you're going to give on how to incorporate DEI in your business strategies. But first, let me let you introduce yourself.
Yay! Okay, well, thank you so much, Karen. Hi, audience. You all are in for a treat. This is the world's most brilliant business strategist, so I'm actually really honored to be here. So my name is Dr. Taharee Jackson. I am the founder and tone setter in chief of Dr. Taharee Consulting. And so essentially since 2004, since I had a full-time career as an academic and then now even as a federal employee, I have always been able to help organizations of various sizes advance their diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and accessibility goals. So I help businesses optimize their profits by understanding the business, the fiscal, and the moral case for diversity. I do an incredible amount of work in education because my background is as a teacher and a professor of education. So I'm able to help schools and universities and entire school systems and districts and states if they consider all the different types of diverse students that they have. And my favorite is to work with all kinds of businesses. So small businesses, corporations. I've consulted for consulting companies. So it really spans the gamut. And I'm really, really excited to be here to share whatever expertise I can to any size business owner. So thanks for having me.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. So impressed with what the work you've done and the work you continue to do. So as I said, my target audience for this series is the small business owners, even those who are solo entrepreneurs who have a proven business model and are out there trying to sell their product or service. But I wanted to have you on the show today to ensure that small business owners don't feel like they either are left out of the conversation or for solopreneurs think, I don't need to be part of that conversation because I don't have a corporation. I don't have a company. It's just me. So with that in mind, how should small business owners or either solo entrepreneurs think about DEI when it comes to their business strategy? And in a lot of cases, those individuals sometimes have a single persona in mind as their target audience or their target customer. What would DEI look like for them in their strategies?
So one of the things that I always take the time to sort of explain when I'm doing diversity training or a train the trainer or just even a keynote speech about diversity is I like to consider the word diversity itself in terms of visible and invisible diversities, right? So each person is diverse in ways that sometimes you can't see and sometimes you wouldn't assume. So if you're a small business and you have a widget or a product, or even like me, you have a service, you can have a persona or a business, a customer archetype in mind. You can say, I'm gonna, market to middle-aged white soccer moms, and that's the person who's gonna use my minivan, or that's the person who's gonna use my organizer for a purse. But if you just market to women, and if you just have that very narrow, skinny demographic, you're going to forget about all the people who could take information about your product and service and pass that along to the person that it's destined for. A partner who wants to buy them a gift, right? We forget sometimes that people are from multicultural, interracial families. So if you are marketing let's say you have hair products, right? And you're marketing, this is for Black women who are natural and who have type 4C hair. Well, you're forgetting about transracial adopters. You're forgetting about white women who are married to, ethnic men or Black men who have daughters and children with ethnic hair. You're forgetting about men who have ethnic hair who want to appreciate those products. A great example of that, I think it was Carol's daughter. For a long time, that was marketed again for Black women. It's for Black women. It's by Black women. But then it became really popular, and as stores started sort of trying to integrate ethnic or Black hair products into their shelves, it just became a really popular hair product for white women and Latino women and all kinds of women. So my best advice there is, it's okay to have a focused persona or a particular demographic that you're looking to reach, but consider how people are diverse within themselves. Consider how the main consumer of hip hop and rap music is a 10-year-old white boy that lives in the suburbs, right? And consider all the other different types of diversity, like ability and faith and religious, class background and all of that. And your goal as any business owner is to advertise and market your products and services to the widest possible swath of people, so that people will know about your service and remember you and tell someone else, even if they can't use it themselves.
Oh, that is wonderful. Consider other types who could possibly use your product outside of your target demographic. And then you want to have marketing that appeals to the widest swath of people.
Yes.
So my next question would be about marketing. What are there things that people should consider when they're coming up with their marketing strategy? If they, again, the best business and product schools will tell you, when you're putting your MVP, your minimum viable product out there, just focus on one type so that you don't become overwhelmed with trying to capture the whole pool. Just focus on one type of fish. Get yourself out there, validate your idea. And so we may become a little bit more narrow in our focus when we start to market that product or idea. Right. What should we consider when it comes to diversity, even in our marketing to our one persona type?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's fantastic. So just we'll sort of stay on the hair product line for a second. I remember when I went to a new salon to test out a product. I think at the time it was called We Dot, and it was for women with ethnic hair. And I remember one of the best examples of what products I needed to use were on a white man that was there who had kind of longer curly hair. And I just remember thinking, man, I wonder how he found out about this product. And I wonder how we are both at the same salon, because salons are kind of like houses of worship. You can go to Black churches, you can go to Black salons or Dominican salons, and those are very narrow because they generally serve one type of customer. I really think that marketing is key. And I think that what business owners want to remember when they market on social media, when they visually market, when you have a brochure, when you have a pictorial, you want to make sure people can see themselves in your product or service, right? Representation matters, okay? Yes. When we think about maybe sort of, you can even make an argument that when we see commercials for different drugs and medications, they already know who's going to need that, right? If we're marketing for psoriatic arthritis, if we're marketing for diabetes, we know certain groups and certain types of people tend to have those types of issues, but we show the commercial with lots of different type of people in it. And we show the commercial with lots of different types of people using it, so that you don't get so narrow in your focus that people who could genuinely benefit from your product or service can't see themselves, or they'll see it and they'll say, oh, well, We Dot is for women, or, Carol's Daughter is just for Black people. Like, you never want people to limit your product. Again, you want to go for umbrella marketing. You want to go for umbrella representation. If you're selling picture frames, one of the things I used to have my students do as a professor is to go out and find picture frames and see, those pictures that come like right. In the frame already. It used to just be white heterosexual couples, right? And so if I'm in a same-sex partnership, or if I have a non-traditional family and I go shop for frames and that's all I'm seeing, I'm probably not going to buy those frames, because you didn't consider me before I came. You didn't think that my family type existed, an interracial marriage, a same-sex marriage. You didn't consider me. So it's harder for me to see myself in your product, using your product, and buying your product. So I just want to really encourage people to think about representation, and how representation and me seeing myself in you and your good and service matters.
That is so important. Yes, I want you to see yourself in it, because your money is just as good as the next person's money. So we don't want to isolate anybody's dollars, because all dollars matter as well.
Yes, all dollars matter. That you should probably copyright that.
I'm going to write that down. All dollars matter. That's my new tagline. Yes. Thank you so much for that. And so, another question I thought about asking was, how could DEI help improve someone's brand, like the brand of a small business or an entrepreneur? Again, if they just sell into one particular type, what could they do to improve their brand?
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the simplest things you can do is to be aware of the influencers in your target audience, right? Just make sure you're partnering strategically. Make sure you're, kind of like when you want to advertise a job for a particular type of group, you go to what are called niche job boards. So you should always start with the persona, right? If you sell soccer balls and you already know who's probably going to buy your soccer ball, always become an expert in that. But what you don't know, again, is you don't know how many grandmothers and you don't know how many abuelas and you don't know how many titis and you don't know how many people are going to need to know about your soccer ball to buy it for someone else. So people forget about making sure that the totality of the relevance of their product or their good or service is wide enough so that a grandma could say, okay, I'm 82 years old. I don't play soccer, but here's a soccer ball that, has this or that. So I just want to encourage people, again, always target the widest swath. Always think through the different types of diversity that there are, and always make sure that your advertising is inclusive, right? Think about language. We were talking earlier about even artists who have songs, that use particular words. And they're like, I never thought about how that could be ableist. I never thought about how this could be homophobic. And the big one, I never thought how this could be racist or misogynist or sexist. And so now that people, artists, very established artists are saying, I'm not going to say this word in my song anymore because I don't want to exclude trans people. I don't want to exclude members of the LGBTQ plus community. And I can't do that if I have the F word in all my songs. I don't want to exclude this group. So let me consider every type of diversity there is, and let me think through how to be more inclusive. And so, I think it starts with language, again, visual representation, and just making sure that people can understand what your product or service is, but also how it could be relevant for them or someone they know or love.
Again, all dollars matter. I think that's what it comes down to. I wonder if corporations and small business owners and those who are defining strategy get exhausted sometime with the idea of trying to keep DEI at top of mind. But I wonder, the question I didn't think of, but didn't think of in advance, but as I think through the answers you've given and the topic at hand, which is why small business owners and entrepreneurs should think about DEI in their strategies. What does that mean for their dollars and the bottom line? I wonder, when you're consulting, do business owners, do they make that connection that this is actually going to help your bottom line?
Yeah. So I actually literally just had this conversation 2 days ago. I was on a panel for a UT Austin, and we were talking about organizational and business culture, interestingly enough. And what I said was there are a couple of different ways you can think about sort of the business case for diversity, equity, inclusion. And one of the prominent points that I made the other day was you can discriminate your way out of business and you can exclude your way out of business, right? So what I mean by that is if you decide that you are going to focus on a very narrow persona, or if you're a bigger company or just even have more than one employee, you decide that you're going to make all your decisions by yourself just based on your own ideas and your own identities and even your own implicit biases, you will end up with products and posts and services that are actually offensive and that will cost you more. And even if they're not deliberately offensive, let me give you an example of some of that. So Adidas several years ago actually marketed a high top tennis shoe with shackles attached to them, right? So there was a high top tennis shoe marketed by, and I use it as an example all the time in my training, but there were literally shackles that were supposed to go around your ankle. And it was, I guess, maybe a play on like slave to fashion, but that's not funny if you are a descendant of an American slave. That's not funny if you live in the Caribbean or Brazil, where you actually have ancestors who were literal slaves. Another example, fashion, was right around the time that the movie starring Meryl Streep came out. It was called The Suffragette. There was a promotional t-shirt that came out that said, "I'd rather be a rebel than a slave." Okay, well, we support women's rights, we support voting rights, we support suffrage, but slavery is not an option. So again, you can wear a t-shirt, trying to sort of, ramp up your product. But my question is, if there was a single Black person in either one of those rooms when those products were being developed, they wouldn't have gotten made, right? If you if you consider diversity for a single one of your social media posts, a single one of your advertising, like even your website, if you didn't sort of do that in a tunnel, only considering yourself and your own identities, you could have, you could have been so much more effective. And by the way, that's also costly because it takes a minute to lose brand reputation and respect. It can take a lifetime to rebuild and regain public trust. So that's just one of the ways that it costs you something. And I really think that business owners of any size need to be aware of that. They need to always, get as much community support as they can. They need to get as many diverse perspectives and, diversity of thought as possible, because those faux pas will cost you. And there are other ways that a lack of DEI awareness can cost you as well.
Oh, what a fabulous, impactful 15 minutes. I so appreciate this advice. And I am quite sure my audience of hopefully small business owners and entrepreneurs can take all of that wonderful advice into consideration and incorporate that into some of their new strategies. So, Dr. Taharee, how can people find you or reach out to you if they wanted to know more, or hire you if they needed some help refining their own strategies?
Yeah, so actually, that's literally my superpower. That is my literal jam. DEI strategy and implementation, right? Because it's more than just a document that you sort of have and say, here, we got a strategy. It's really about implementing that and infusing it into every part of your business, right? No matter your size, irrespective of your size. So the best way to get me is on LinkedIn. My website is under construction, but if you want to read some of my literature, you can always go to Medium. And then finally, people can contact me directly, drtaharee@gmail.com. And so maybe we can put that in the chat, but I'm available for all sorts of things. I usually go and do short presentations, keynotes, trainings, but then also I'm a certified diversity trainer of trainers. So I've been trying to put myself out of business for 20 years by teaching people how to strategize and how to be more diverse, equitable, inclusive, belonging-based, and dedicated to social justice and racial equity. So yeah, so all of those ways, LinkedIn, Medium, email, all that, or harass Karen.
And I can definitely put you in touch so that she can show you how to get all the dollars that are out there.
Karen knows where I live.
Yes. Oh, it was so lovely talking to you today, Taharee. I so appreciate your time. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I will make sure I have all those points of contact in the notes and in the tag so that people can get in touch with you and learn more. Thank you so much again. All right. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.